Hey everyone, today we're going to make some chicken noodle soup using these egg noodles here, and then I have our frozen veggies that I had in the freezer already chopped in my giant pot here. I have my water boiling and water coming up to a boil, and this is actually for my noodles. But my chicken, which I have already cooked, but my chicken was cooked and also in the freezer. So I put it in the water while the water's coming up to heat so that it would thaw out so that I can chop it up for my soup. So once this comes up to temperature, I'm going to take the chicken out and get it chopped up and get this water up to a boil and start my noodles, and then I'll be back. So over here I have my skillet heating up. I found with soups and stews it's always good to saute your veggies first. It gives them a little bit better flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and get these. I have 1 cup of carrots, a half a cup of celery, and a half a cup of onions chopped up. And I'm going to get them in the skillet, get them going, and I'm going to let them cook until all of the liquid is off so that they're nice and dry, and then I'll add in my chicken and get it warm as well. Okay, so I've taken my chicken out. I'm working on chopping it up. My water's come up to a boil, so I've added my egg noodles. They're going to take about 7 minutes. I don't want to overcook them. And then my veggies are starting to saute. Get that water off of them. We'll let everything just keep going, and then I'll be back to season and add things together. Okay, so I've drained my pasta. It's done. My veggies have gotten nice and dry. I'm going to add my chopped chicken. This is 3 chicken breasts. You can use more or less depending on what you want to do. We like a lot of chicken and things. So, lots of chicken it is. Then I'm going to add a teaspoon of minced garlic. And we're going to get this mixed around. Just want to get this chicken nice and warm, and then we'll add our chicken broth. Alright, so I'm going to let that cook for a second. I'll add my spices. I have a teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and a teaspoon of tarragon. So we're going to add those in. And you just want to cook those till you can smell them. They'll get your kitchen nice and fragrant. And then once we can smell them, we're going. Alright, so everything's sizzling away now and smelling great. So I'm going to add my chicken broth. And this is low sodium chicken broth. And I'm going to add enough that I almost cover the chicken. So it looks like that. And I don't have an exact amount for you because it differs by how much chicken you use and how much of the other ingredients. But I would say it's probably 2 cups is a good amount to start with, and then see what you think. Alright, so now this is up to a boil. I still have my noodles separate. Excuse me. And I actually like to keep my noodles separate when I plate and when I put the leftovers away, because especially egg noodles will just disintegrate into your liquid, and they're just much better if you leave them separate. So put some noodles in your plate. I'm gonna switch hands, and then you just spoon your soup over your noodles, and you can get as much liquid or as little liquid as you like, depending on how soupy you like your soup. And it smells amazing. Okay, so that is pretty much how I want mine. And like I said, you can add way more soup if you want it soupy. And then what I like to do is add a sprinkling of sharp cheddar right on top. There we go. And that's perfect. Perfect chicken noodle soup. Hey everyone, I'm gonna make some quick Mexican rice today. So I already have some rice cooked. I'm gonna use 2 cups of cooked white rice, and it is cold because it's left over from the other day. I have a little bit of peanut oil in the bottom of my pan here, just getting warm. I'm going to add in my rice and let that start sizzling away. You want to get that toasty but not burnt. Let's see if I can get another cup here. I'm going to do 2 cups of rice. So, give that a spin around. And it is pretty dry rice right now because, like I said, it is leftover. Alright, to that I'm going to add 1 clove of garlic, just that I sliced right in half. And it was starting to sprout. Let me switch hands. You're just looking for a little color on your rice here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add my strained Bertel tomatoes. Those in the pot. Give them a good mix. I'm going to put you down for a second so I can give those a good mix. Okay, so that's nice and mixed. Oh, and I do have this on medium heat. I'm going to add a little bit of onion powder. You could add raw onion here if you'd like. And a little bit of ground coriander. If you have fresh cilantro, that's even better. But I don't. Okay, now I'm going to add half a cup of chicken broth. Because like I said, the rice is a little bit dry because it is a leftover. And now I'm going to turn my heat off. And I'm going to give this a good mix. And then I'm going to put the top on it and I'm going to set it to the back for probably 2 or 3 minutes while I get everything else ready. So the next thing, I'm going to make some chicken to go in my rice bowls. So I already have a cooked rotisserie chicken, so I'm just going to pull from that. But I need to make my spice mix. So I have a little bowl here. And I'm going to start with one. Let's see if I can do this. I'll start with a teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay. Then we're going to do a teaspoon of onion powder, which onion powder always gets stuck together in the container. Okay. Then I want half a teaspoon of parsley. I'm going to do half a teaspoon of oregano. If you have Mexican oregano, even better. Then I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of coriander, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of paprika. And then I'm going to go back and get my salt. I'm going to start with half a teaspoon of salt because this is a commercially cooked rotisserie chicken, so it may have some sodium in it already. A quarter teaspoon of black pepper. And then I have over here in my skillet, I have some peanut oil getting warm, and I'm going to chop up my chicken and then I'll be back. Okay, so now my oil has gotten warm and I have chopped and shredded my chicken. This is about 4 cups of various parts of the chicken. And I'm going to throw on my spice mix that I made. And I'm going to give this a good stir, which is hard to do one-handed, but we'll make do. Hang on. I'm going to put you down for a second. So now I'm going to add about half a cup of chicken broth just to kind of deglaze the pan. And I'm going to turn my heat down. I currently have it on medium. I'm going to turn it down to low. I'm going to give this a stir, and then I'm going to put the top on it and let it just kind of gently warm for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so everything's done, and I'm going to show you how I would plate this. So I'll get a couple nice good scoops of my rice. Okay, and then I'm going to get a bunch of chicken. I don't like to mix everything together, just because I don't. Some chicken, and then some black beans. Then we'll do some corn. And then I like to put some of my homemade salsa right in the middle. And then, last but not least, I don't have any cotija or Oaxaca cheese, so shredded cheddar is going to have to do today. But that is how I make a rice ball. And you can add avocado if you have it, fresh pico if you have it. It's not the season for any of that here, so this is what we've got. Hope you enjoy.